There we go. Come on, let's get everything going, right? Damn, guys.
Hey, everybody, it's BowtieUP Live.
Everybody get out.
We made up the stuff. That's BowtieUP Live. This is really works well. Not too many things rhyme with BowtieUP Live. Yeah, we're not gonna. Oh yeah, and then we just wreck it coming in, and we just go to hell with it. Right?
Oh, dude,
Right?
that was so
We couldn't do
awesome.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you know what dang time it is. It's BowtieUP Live. Come on in, sit down, grab your popcorn, grab the drink, settle in. For the next hour, we're going to be edutating your face off.
There you go.
And we started by botching that intro because we've introduced some new techie things and didn't work out things like echoes. So, we just blew it right from the start. But that's okay. We got the worst behind it. I believe Rowley. You guys know that. But this guy over here to my right, let's have him introduce himself.
How's it going? I'm Alex McDowell, founder of A3 Innovation, partner Real Impact Solution, overall real big fan of technology, and I absolutely adore other entrepreneurs. But much more important than I is the guy right down here below me. We have joining us today Mr. Gabriel Leal. Welcome, Gabriel. Thank you so much for being here. Wonderful to see you, brother. And please take 30 seconds, 45 seconds, introduce yourself to the audience.
Awesome. So thank you guys for, first of all, having me on. And a little bit about myself, guys. I'm the host of the Made from Scratch broadcast show, which airs 5 nights a week. I stream through multiple platforms, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. I stream on my website, and I also stream through LinkedIn Live. So my show that I bring guests on and talk about is about creativity and positive messages. So I do this again 5 nights a week. It's something that I just started learning how to do about 2.5 months ago, and lo and behold, here I am, where I'm about 50 episodes into doing this thing now. And it's been fun every single day that I get the chance to do this. And then I get to, on top of that, I get to meet interesting people like you and Lee and so many other people who are in the live streaming community who have the same passions, same things about wanting to go out there and share their platforms and bring interesting messages and having just a good time. And I think that's a lot of it, what all this is about. Is just coming on here, having a good time, and again, being able to, share who you are personally, share about what you love and what you're passionate about. So if you're passionate about tech and you get to share that, I mean, that's fun to me. Getting to talk about some of the things that you do every single day, and you get the chance to do this, because there's a lot of people still sitting in their same places in their doldrums, trying to figure out what they want to do with the rest of their lives. And here we are, we get up and do this every single day. So, and again, about me, I'm starting a video production company. I have an internet radio station. I'm starting to do remote producing for other people. So again, it's the fun part about what we've been doing, what I've been learning to do for the last 3 months. And, I'm just going full gung-ho every single day.
So you're still at the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey then, from what
Yeah.
it sounds like. So this is an exciting time for you then, man. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
What were you doing 4 months ago?
Well, 4 months ago, here's what I was doing, right? I was sitting on my couch, just living an everyday life like most people. But what kind of got me going was at the beginning of the new year, I wanted to set challenges for myself. So once I said I wanted to start learning how to challenge, I just started approaching anything and everything that would make me feel uncomfortable and would make me do something different that I knew nothing about. So, essentially just starting from scratch is that's kind of like why I call my show Made from Scratch, because I've been starting everything from scratch. I knew nothing about tech. I knew nothing about video streaming. I knew nothing about any of this, to tell you the truth. So I just really threw myself in there and wanted to learn how to do this. So I started to reach out to other people, started doing research, used the best tools that I could possibly use for free, which was Google and YouTube, and went out there and started learning. Essentially, that's how it started, and it's becoming to the point where I'm scaling everything up pretty quickly.
That's awesome to hear. And I would love to hear more about, when you did get on that journey of starting to learn, because it's daunting when you try to consider, how do you even begin to stream? What are you going to do with it? How does it really work? Where do you fit in within a community as an entrepreneur, as a content creator, what have you? But I do want to stop the show and say hello to a couple of our dear friends out in the audience joining us here today. First, in the comments, we have got Carla Rowley jumping in and saying hello all. Hey, Carla, how is it going? Thank you so much for joining us today. And as always, thank you for loaning Lee to us for an hour or so. Enrique Naito, I am horrible with pronunciation, so I hope I didn't butcher that, brother. But Enrique, he says hello, I say hello. How's it going, brother? Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day today. And Matthew Perkins says, huzzah, gentlemen. Great to see you all together.
Huzzah, Matt.
Much agreed. Great to see you with us. Likewise, my friend. Wonderful to have you here, and give me that copy for the website. Just throwing that out there as well. I need to send you a message about that too. But back to your regularly scheduled interruption, where we are talking about getting started streaming. Now, for any of you out in the audience who are curious about streaming, about video content creation, about how we're doing this all right now and talking to you so that you can hear our magnificent, wonderful voices and see our beautiful faces, drop them in the comments. Actually, they're over here. Drop the comments over here with your questions. We'll answer them live. So feel free to chime in there. Looking forward to it. But in the 35 seconds, while you guys catch up to this message, we'll go back to talking about just that kind of learning and growth journey. And before we do that, Lee, did you have anything to touch on?
Oh, I was enjoying the conversation, actually. But I was going to say that I don't know what stick to throw in there. Here, let's do this. Who wants to see me sing in 3-part harmony?
Yeah.
Throw in the comments. Do you want to see
harmony.
me 3-part harmony?
3-part harmony. Okay.
I will do it.
So we got how many on
three
LinkedIn
requests,
right now?
and I'll do it.
3. Okay. All right. There are 4 of you out there, probably 1 including me. Yeah. So that means I need all of you guys doing a huge favor. Jump in there, drop a 3-part harmony or a harmony or sing it Lee, something. Drop a comment, and if we get 3 of them, guys, you'll hear Lee Rowley sing in 3-part harmony.
I will do it too.
Oh,
he actually will, and that's 1. Matthew's jumping in saying, "Oh yeah, get your singing on." And by the way, Chris Dickman jumping in and saying, "Hi everyone, happy Tuesday." Happy Tuesday, Chris. Hope you're having a wonderful day today. And that's 2. Chris says, "Do it." I'm sure we'll get a 3rd here soon. Remember, 1 more comment encouraging Lee to sing in 3-part harmony. What song are you going to sing for us, Lee? And I'm not counting comments twice. Yeah, Carla says sing it, so you're definitely caught in there.
Oh, that's it. That's 3.
Yeah, Carla counts. That's 3. You gotta sing it. What are you singing for us today? Can this be like American Idol? Hold on, we gotta get this set up.
Lee in 3-part harmony. It's a triple treat for you and me.
Hi, welcome to American
Idol. The power
Idol.
of technology, children.
That's amazing.
Lee Rowley, I believe you had a song you were going to sing for us. You can't get away with just doing that brief intro.
Oh, bloody hell. Oh, wait a minute. No, I got to do that. Oh, bloody hell. Let's go with scouting, Brian.
What? We've gotten a lot of fun toys, guys, and that's not good always, as you can see.
Bollocks, I say, bollocks.
Is that which one's your favorite tool so far?
Oh God. Let's see.
Oh wow, that seems like so much fun.
Oh yeah.
That's a contender anyway.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
All right. Were we actually going to do a show, or did I just get on here to play with my voice effects?
I think you got on here just to play with your voice effects.
Okay. I'm assuming you had something more substantial in mind.
I always do, man. I just got so many substantial things to talk about, including creating content. Because one thing that I've been having a lot of really productive conversations around is how you can really engage your audience right now, and how you can send a message that's going to resonate with people, and how you can communicate in a new and modern way. And the reason why I go into all of this is because video is really what I'm seeing as the solution. Video is the thing that we all have this ability. We look good, number one, and we all have this ability to instantly get that personalized message across with very little effort and very little brain power too, because we can just talk and record and send, and it's there. So Gabriel, walk me through why you chose to get to streaming, why you chose to start to produce video and content, and what got you interested into being live on the internet for all of you awesome people out there on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube.
Yeah, so no problem, Alex. So essentially how my journey started was I started by doing just native video on LinkedIn, and you know, I would create videos and put them out there, and people would actually respond and engage to them. So I thought to myself, well, I do have a message. I had a few people who reached out and said, I love what you're sharing. I love what you're saying. You should put it out there more often. So the natural instinct for me was to go, well, I can do a podcast because I could probably edit the audio. I could have time to come up with the concept. And then one day I saw a gentleman doing a live stream show. So I said, wow, that's fairly interesting. I love what he was doing. And then you see people doing the instant engagement and connecting and asking questions and that sort of thing. So it kind of caught my attention. And from that point, I said, you know what? I started catching more and more lives on Facebook, on LinkedIn. And I said, I love doing this. I love engaging on here and asking questions and getting people's, getting their responses and that sort of thing. So I decided to go and start doing live streaming just because I wanted to feel a lot of the same, use the same ways and get my message out doing it live. So I connected with a couple of people who stream pretty regularly on LinkedIn.
Before you go into the how you connected and how you got that start, let's step back, because I find it fascinating, man, and I love it, and I want to understand more why you chose LinkedIn as the place to start with native video, because I find that very interesting. Why didn't you just start with YouTube? And I'm sure you have a reason why.
Yeah. Okay.
And also, what is your message that you're trying to spread?
Oh, cool. No problem. So the reason I started to reach out on LinkedIn, first of all, is because I started seeing a lot of people who I had been following people on LinkedIn for about a year, but I never commented, I never interacted, that sort of thing. But I got to see people, and I'm talking about business people, I'm talking about people who are coaches and that sort of thing, letting themselves out there and being pretty vulnerable, exposing who they are and sharing their real authentic selves out there. So that was kind of refreshing to me, seeing that I had been on other social platforms and seeing how on Instagram it was all about just being an influencer and talking about how great their lives were. And Facebook had its own little sort of things with people always talking about politics and all these other things going on. So when I found LinkedIn and started getting on there, I found that refreshing, that people could be who they really were and people would go out there and start supporting who they were and what they were sharing in their story. So that's why I really essentially started doing video on LinkedIn, because I said, you know what, I can just be myself, and share this and reach out to people. And one of the things that I started learning was that I had a positive message to bring to a lot of other people who say, you know what, I find what you're doing pretty inspiring. I want to build my voice up. I want to learn how to do this, that sort of thing. So that's kind of the ideas that kind of went into putting my show together. And I said, well, I wanted to add the creative aspect of what I do as a person, because I'm a writer. I'm publishing a book. So I wanted to add the creative aspect of what I love about the creative process, which is just everybody has their own need for self-expression. So whether it's doing video, whether it's painting, whether it's writing a book, whether it's singing a song, whether it's writing a workshop, whether it's crafting a business plan for somebody, all these people, you have to be creative to come up with a lot of these aspects. So that's why I decided to merge creativity and positivity, for the two things that I love talking about, into my show. And that's the message that I wanted to start crafting from the very beginning. So from episode 1 now to episode 50, that's kind of what I've been doing, is sharing the stage with people who are creative, and also bring a message that I think people need to hear, because in this world that we live in now, it's so easy to find the negative aspect of what's going on around us. And it's been, of course, it's been magnified a lot by COVID-19, but even before then, the negativity you could always find on TV with murder rates and crime rates and unemployment and all these things that they would always talk about whenever you turn on the television. And not all of it's that way, but that was the most things that, I mean, when you get notifications on your phone, right? It's either a notification about somebody passing away, somebody famous has died, or some sort of political thing that's passed, or, you don't ever get any kind of like messages saying, hey, by the way, you're great, you're awesome, the world's a nice place to live in. You don't get those sort of things. So I just wanted to be kind of counterculture with what I wanted to share and what I brought to people. So that's
So you were almost kind of fighting all the bad that you saw in the world and replacing it with that positivity, in essence, right?
Yeah, essentially. And it just happened to culminate with everything going on once COVID-19 started. I had no idea. Nobody knew this was going to explode to the point it was. I mean, you would see it on small news feeds. Hey, this is going on in China. This is going on there, before it really exploded. And I didn't think about any of that when I started doing what I started doing. I just said, you know what, I got to get a positive message out there. Now it's become even more important, and I see more and more people doing it, because the state that we are in, there's a lot of people like who and again, even as we're opening up, right, there's a lot of things opening up now, right? So a lot of states are starting to respread a lot of things out, getting everything back open. But for some people, they're not going to have that opportunity to open up again. A lot of businesses that were struggling in the first place aren't going to have a chance to open their doors again.
And that's something that you don't hear a lot about, is the fact that if you went into this at a disadvantage, instead of being at an advantage or breaking even, I mean, if you were already rough and down on your luck when this whole thing started, you're probably not looking too good right now. Yeah. And that's, that's a really scary thought when you think about it, and what that can start to mean for some people as we approach, I don't even know, 2-3 months in quarantine. How much longer do we really have? And inevitably people are going to come out and do whatever they're going to do, and there'll be a second wave. We all know it. But, how do we really... And also, by the way, stopping the show and saying hello to our good friend Nishant out there in the audience, saying hi, Lee, Alex, and Gabriel. Hey, Nishant, how's it going, man?
Hey.
And yeah, you're absolutely right. And the audience is just talking about the positivity side. So Nishant says positivity is surely rare nowadays. And then Matthew says, I love that you want to be a reminder to the world that it's not as bad as we can think by absorbing the average news story. And I love that too. So walk us through maybe like your top 3 favorite episodes and like, or your top 3 favorite messages that you've gotten to send or spread that just really had a big impact on you.
A lot of them. One of the best ones was the fact that I had to, first of all, reach out to one of my mentors to kind of help me walk into the live streaming sort of thing. So having him on was a thrill for me because, again, he kind of helped me start this whole process because he was the one that kind of formulated it for me. He was the first guy that I paid attention to connecting with. And then second, one of my other favorite shows, well, let me give him a shout out. Russ Johns is the guy who I've kind of tailored my show after a little bit with my own unique touch, of course, but his message is kindness and caring and compassion. So I love that message about him when I first saw it, and to have him on my show and come full circle from starting out and not knowing nothing, to have him help teach me and get me to this point was awesome for me. Second for me was, of course, I had on Brian Shulman, which was a great episode. We actually had a conversation for 2 hours live. So,
wow.
Yeah, that was fun as well because he is a fireball. If you don't know who he is and haven't connected with Brian, but he's like the godfather of LinkedIn. He's been on the platform since almost its inception. So he's been there every step of the way. And, he always tries to bring out, again, same positive things, same messages, being positive what you're doing and lifting people up and that sort of thing. So those two are really ones that stick out. And then, of course,
so what are some things that we can do to be positive and lift other people up during these times?
Well, of course, one of the best things you can do is just reach out to somebody. So, if you know people that are your friends or family or even connections that you've had in the past and you haven't talked to them in a while, because of the technology that we have, it's pretty simple to send a message out. Now you can get on your LinkedIn allows you to send videos straight to somebody. Facebook has always allowed you to send videos to somebody. Send a smiling face and just a good caring message to somebody saying, hey, I'm thinking about you today. I hope everything's well. I know times are tough. I know life is rough sometimes, but just know if you need an ear or you need somebody here to talk to, remember I'm always here. And any time of the day, just send me a message and I'll connect and we can always have a private conversation. Because again, I think that's something that people are always searching for. And again, it's always something that when, say, tragedy happens, they say, you know what, I should have reached out to that person. I should have done this or I should have done that. And my thing is just, why wait? It's just regardless if you've had past problems or if you have animosities, man, put those things aside. We're actually living in in unprecedented times right now. So take an unprecedented approach. Reach out to these people. Reach out to somebody and say, hey, look, I'm thinking about you. I hope everything's good. Again, what we had in the past, we can work past it. But being positive though, it really takes a lot of work for someone who does not know how to be positive. It takes a lot of, you really got to do a lot of searching, deep inside yourself to figure these things out. But, being positive always can start as simple as having a smile on your face and walking in a room, telling somebody hello. That's already starting off a good conversation or a good first impression, or for whatever it is with somebody, just having a smile on your face, saying hello, how are you doing, being kind. These are all positive ways, little things that go into setting a tone whenever you connect with somebody. So yeah, I think positive messages and the way that you can be positive, they're out there everywhere. It's just, you really have to instill these things in your life. Other than that, I mean, I understand that what we do every day, we are all adults and we are all responsible for our own happiness. So um, we get up every day, like what I was talking about beforehand. What happened with my internet? What happened with my phone? What
And
happened
that's
with?
a great story, by the way. So we'll have to like loop back to that so you can talk about just the day that you've had getting
Yeah,
here,
absolutely.
because that's a hoot and a half.
You know,
And I think you brought up a lot of really good points there, though, Gabriel. I mean, just about spreading that message of positivity. You know, it can be something as simple as sending a message to somebody, but we can also remember some of the ways that we can send broader messages, like a Facebook story, an Instagram story, you know, LinkedIn native video, Snapchat, Twitter. I mean, really, wherever you're at, you can use any social media platform as a way to spread a message of positivity and to encourage people to really reach out to you and to interact with you, with the caveat that you're willing to accept it.
yes,
I say that because
absolutely.
the worst thing that somebody in need can have is somebody who's just kind of a jerk and doesn't want to deal with it. So if you're not in the right place to be doing that, if that's not like in your actual headspace, then don't do it. But if you want to help people, you got a way to do it right now, and you got a way to finally be that leader that people need to bring them together, because that's ultimately what it's all about. You don't get through it unless everybody's working together, like in Finding Nemo, when they're all swimming in the net and they have to swim together. Like
Yeah,
that's how
that's
it is
right.
right now. And you've
Yeah,
got to be standing up saying, keep swimming, if
right.
you want everybody to keep swimming.
Exactly.
So I'm
Awesome.
so glad that we're having like this conversation, because it's a good one.
Yeah, and again, you know, like you said, there's so many different ways, and even if you do reach out to somebody, at least you know that you tried, and that's kind of just as important as, you know, not because again, even if they don't accept it, at least you say, I put it out there in the world. I shared it with so and so that I do care about them and everything else. And when they're open to it, when they're receptive to it, they'll be ready for it. But they'll know it'll be there, and they'll know that you still care. So yeah, I love that fact. That,
How can we apply this maybe? And Lee, this is also a good question to bring you in on. How can we apply the concept of spreading positivity to messaging and connecting and interacting with people we don't know? And what I mean is, you know, we're on LinkedIn. I mean, we're three caring guys, right? I mean, I know that I'm not going to jump in your inbox and pitch you a cold sales message. I
Yeah.
might ask you to be a guest on the show so I can pick at you for an hour,
Right.
but that's
Yeah.
a completely different reason.
Of
So
course.
when you are I just lost completely what I was saying. Messaging. Oh, so how can you spread this message of positivity to people that you don't know? How can you approach a connection or a message in a conversational, friendly way, or even non-conversational, just friendly and supportive, without being gimmicky, without getting salesy, and making that clear and distinct line that you are trying to help them and you're not just, you know, trying to get a sale? Wordsmith, you're the one that
Yeah, well,
gets to
yeah.
chime in first on this.
All right. It's really about know who you're talking to. I mean, if you're not finding out who you're talking to, what they're receptive to, what they're into, and what they're putting out there, then how can you have a hope of connecting with them? I mean, it just doesn't make sense that we have people cold reaching out and not finding anything out about the people they want to talk to, and then just being like, here's what I've got. Aren't you impressed? Right. No.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, it's knowing who you're talking to, even if it's you know, there's strangers where we're dealing in a copy standpoint, where it's one to many. We still want to go in and do as much immersion as possible in that audience's lives to find out what it is that they need to hear and how to communicate with them best so that we can help them best.
And what are like some of the big touch points on that immersion that we would go into for any given account? So if I want to just do a quick, let's get myself down and dirty and into immersing myself into who this person is at a high level, at least, what are some touch points I can do maybe on LinkedIn to give me an idea of who they are and how I should be messaging them?
Well, I like to take the roundabout process first, which means finding out as much as I can about them without actually asking them. Because, if you ask them a question, hey, what do you need? You're going to get back gated feedback, which means they're telling you what they think you want to hear. Whereas if you're finding out what books they read, if you're going like to those reviews of those books on Amazon, finding out what other people are saying, you can pick out clues of how you can fit and how you can fill needs that other people aren't. You find out what they're interested in things that don't even have anything to do with business. If you find out where they're hanging out and they all seem to enjoy a particular type of music and that's something that you're into, then that's a touch point. You can resonate with them by saying, hey, we're into that. We're into this type of music, or, we're into fluffy little purse dogs or whatever.
So what I'm hearing, though, is that you're being authentic about it. And that's one thing that I want to touch on is that, you're not saying, look, go pick something and say, this is really cool. You're saying dig until you find something, right?
Yes.
That you can connect and relate to immerse within.
To me, and it has to be real, though. It's nothing like you go out and find out that your audience is into, a particular type of sports car or whatever, and then you go out and buy one just because they all have one. That doesn't work. People are going to see right through that. But if it's a genuine connection point, there's nobody that can take that away, and that what sets you apart from your competitors to your particular audience, to your people.
So let me ask you guys this, and Gabriel, I'll have you go first, and then Lee, I'll have you answer. And this is kind of off the cuff, but what's the most meaningful or thought-provoking message, like cold message, that you've received? Or sent?
One of the ones that I usually send out to people just to kind of break the ice is just telling them, hey, I've first of all, I've read your profile to kind of tell people, hey, I am interested in who you are as a person, because again, there's nothing worse than just getting a cold message from somebody. So I always tell them, hey, I read your profile. I find what you do so very interesting and warming, and of course, I would love to connect with you and have a conversation if you'll allow it, because I think you have something to add to my value, to my own life, and things that I can learn from you. So, just reaching out that way and telling somebody that, first of all, I'm interested in what you are, who you are as a person, and what you do. And I think that you can help me by teaching me something. I think that kind of opens the doors a little bit to people being more receptive, instead of saying, hey, I'm trying to sell you something, or I want you on my show. I find those approaches to be very detrimental to what I'm trying to achieve. So, and again, I do this all, though, to people who I do, of course, find interesting and important, and I do want to share their message with what I have to share on my show. So I like to do this and reach out to these sort of people, and 9 times out of 10, I get a really warm response back saying, thank you for at least being interested in what you're doing. And again, I don't even mention the show. Sometimes I just go, I would just like to have a conversation with you. I would love to have a personal conversation with you, because I want to know more about who you are as a person and what your story is. And from that point.
So how do we balance that and wanting to know about people and wanting to get introduced to people and wanting to build these connections, and not having the availability to really do so? So once we're at that, and I know that you're approaching there, Gabriel, that scale phase where your availability just goes completely out the window, and now you don't have time for those kind of extracurricular, if you will, activities.
Yeah.
So is there a way that you can remain targeted in that approach, or is that just something that as you grow, it's just going to go?
I think you can, in certain aspects, if you take the time to nurture a lot of these relationships. And again, a lot of these people that I have these connections with, I've nurtured these over time for the last 3 or 4 months before I even talk about approaching these sort of things. Because again, I learned about these people almost like they're friends or family. So I'd love to build these relationships, let them nurture and blossom into something really special. And then from that point, you know, if I get to that point where I think I want to reach out to them and say, hey, let's have a conversation on my show, then we'll do that. But I've had conversations with people, and I still continue to develop relationships with people who I don't even talk about my show about. We just have natural, organic conversations about life, everybody's situation that's going on. And again, we're all doing this together. We're all learning how to function in this new society we have right now until everything kind of breaks to some kind of normal routine. But again, I still spend the time to nurture these, and even even as I grow, and even as things get bigger and bigger, I also try to think about how quickly I want to scale. I don't want to just go from point A to point Z in such a fast amount of time. I'm trying to take it a little bit step by step, so that as I grow older, as I get more and more in depth in learning and reaching out into the entrepreneurial phase of creating a brand and creating these other things, that I have people that have been along with me along the journey most of the time. So for me, it's most of the time it's about quantity. I mean, it's quality over quantity for me. That's the way I approach everything. So you know, I don't have hundreds and thousands of followers. I got like 2,500 followers on LinkedIn, but a lot of these people I do connect with, and I keep in this in my inner circle, because I do find what they share with me and what we grow and what we learn as individuals very interesting. And I think the more and more you go to that reach of where you start reaching, say, like Ira Bowman, who has 100,000 followers on LinkedIn, I think that's where the point where you start getting things start getting insane. And you really
question, because you know, when you talk about things getting insane with 100,000 followers on LinkedIn, I mean, on a YouTube channel, that's still pretty small. So how do you see, why would someone use LinkedIn as a live platform instead of focusing on YouTube? And why, like, what advantage would there be from a content creation perspective, or what's the end goal of using LinkedIn as the platform?
I think for some people, it's the business aspect of what they have to do on LinkedIn, because there are people that you can still make connections with to make business sales and reach out to different people who are more open to accepting your invitation because you are on a quote unquote business platform. That's still what LinkedIn is still seen as. It's not seen so much as a social media platform, whereas on YouTube, YouTube has a lot more to do with creating a lot more native video, a lot more teaching, a lot more, you know.
But both platforms have the live functionality.
Yeah.
Where they're both similar. So if you're looking at them from a comparing directly, what platform should I choose for my primary streaming efforts? You know, I think that really with YouTube, just focusing on that live component, and then the components of LinkedIn Live, and maybe how they're similar or different, or why one's better or the other. Because I do agree that LinkedIn's audience is completely different. It is more targeted. You can be targeted to people that you're connected with on a business level, but just maybe tying that into the why behind that. You know, like, what's the mentality? Like, where's the decision making if you're a newer person starting out?
And again, it just depends on what your approach is and what message you're trying to get across. And
so what message do you think would be better for one platform versus the other?
Well, I think with like LinkedIn, of course, you can use that targeting aspect about reaching out to businesses, and there's so many professional. It's more of a professional platform, even though it's becoming a social media platform. There's a lot more people who are still connected and using it as a CV to share resumes and learning workshops that are being offered on these platforms, like on LinkedIn with Premium and all these other things. So You can also get certified. They have certified classes and stuff that you can do. So it's still seen as a professional platform, but it has a personal level to it. Whereas I think with YouTube, you can still do both, and YouTube does have the live functions. But again, with YouTube, I think YouTube's a lot better for being more creative. If you want to share the creative aspect of what you want to grow as an audience, as opposed to LinkedIn. Both of them have their advantages, but like for me, streaming on YouTube is a lot better because I'm able to interact more. It's the functionality is a lot better. You can react with comments. You can use a third-party service like what you use the StreamYard, whereas in LinkedIn, it's a lot harder. LinkedIn does not have an open API, so it's hard to interact with comments. It's hard to schedule events. It's hard to do all these other things. So if you're going to be creative and set everything up and wanting to learn how to do like a everyday sort of streaming with YouTube, and you want to be a lot more creative, doing with interactive video, pulling up all sorts of using other different streaming platforms, like you can use vMix, you can use Restream, you can use all these other streaming platforms to add sort of different aspect or creativity to using it. So I do find that YouTube is a lot better when it comes to doing that. That's why like you find why I find guys like Rob Velasquez, who does TubeBuddy, who runs TubeBuddy over there, and he does a lot of his strictly stuff on YouTube and Facebook, because it allows him to be a lot more it allows him to be a lot more creative. It allows him to do a lot more other things. But then again, he still comes onto LinkedIn because he still wants to reach the professional platform, and the people, a lot of the professionals who are on these other platforms are all working their way to LinkedIn anyway, because they're starting to see that it's a growing social media platform. Here's the thing, like Brian Shulman was telling me about these statistics, that it is it's the fastest growing platform opposed to TikTok right at this point. Out of all the people that are on the 51 million people that are on LinkedIn, there's only 1% to 2% that are actual content creators. Now, I'm pretty sure that number's gone up since people have been at home a lot more. But again, if you're getting on there, and again, you have to apply to be able to use LinkedIn in the first place. That's a whole other different aspect about it as well. Not everybody can just hop on LinkedIn Live and say, hey, I'm going to go live on LinkedIn. You actually have to go through an application process. So there's not as many people who have access to it, even though you might see people going live a lot more often. There's people that have like huge followings that have 40, 50,000, 60,000 people who don't have access to it. So it's just about what you want to do for each individual platform and how you want to grow. So everybody has their own. Some people have their preference. There's people that I know that I've had on my show that I've been connected with who have 200,000 followers on TikTok, but yet on a platform like they come to a platform like LinkedIn and they have such a small following. So I think it goes to what you really want to work on and what you really want to concentrate. I'm taking a different approach because I'm trying out on every single platform. So I get it that people have told me it's probably better for you to find a niche and stick with it and grow it into a certain little market of, trying to do YouTube native, building on YouTube more, or building on Facebook more, I'm just putting out, I wanted to do this because I wanted to get my message out to as many channels as I possibly could, as many places that I possibly could, as loud as I could, as often as I could. Because I think if you have a good message and you're able to share it, people will find you. People will start coming to you. People will start one way or another.
I wish that was more true. I think that people who have a good message, they have a magnitude around them, and they have they have ducks that are just orbiting them, ducks of just I don't even know. But honestly, like a lot of people are just completely unheard. And the problem with the internet is that it amplifies just whatever you really tell it to. So you can spread a really, really shitty message really quickly. And the bad messages are spread a lot more than the good messages. So I completely agree that, I mean, these people get found because they're vital, but unfortunately they don't have the same advantage. They don't have the same tactics that a lot of the internet marketers have that really get them ahead and just pushing forward like a train into the online universe. And I think that that's one of the biggest things that separates people who are in that kind of micro, small level to the people who are really, growing, scaling, moving on, and enterprising, is that simple fact of how much you're able to really leverage the internet as a platform for rapid growth on a consistent basis too. Because you got to spend a lot of money on ads to get a lot of visibility. But if you get a lot of visibility, get a lot of money off ads.
Exactly. So, but again, I'm taking it as a marathon approach, right? This is going to be a long-term thing for me. Again, it goes to being consistent, right? So that's why I do it every day. Now I've been doing it every day for, going on 3 months now. So I'll see where I'm at in a year, and I'll see where I'm at in 2 years. And, if it comes to that point where I have to make a decision to scale and say, well, let me concentrate on LinkedIn because that's where the big proponent of my audience is. Well, fine. I will change and do what I have to do to help grow my message. But to start out with, when starting out with scratch and not starting out with nothing, I mean, it doesn't hurt me in any way to at least throw it out to as many channels as I possibly can to find what's going to finally lead me to kind of funnel my message to the biggest audience that I can find. So I think starting out that way, because again, you could start there's people who start YouTube channels who just could work on small niches and their niches don't even grow as well either. They'll abandon the channel because they don't get a lot of followers and they don't get a lot of, for whatever particular reason, even a lot of the content creators that I've seen on YouTube, they say, well, I had to start like 2 or 3 different YouTube channels because it took time or it wasn't a niche that I wasn't really working in. So again, it goes to reinventing yourself as many times as possible to become what you need to be and who you want to be with the world. So I think by doing this and throwing it all out there at this point, it doesn't hurt me none to at least try it.
I mean, we're live on 5 platforms ourselves right now, so I'm definitely not knocking it.
Yeah, right. So and I'm doing that. I got an internet radio station that I've started, so I'm doing that as well. I turn all my episodes into a podcast, so I'm letting the system work a little bit for me. I can go somewhere to Anchor and put up all these podcast episodes of the audio that I finish when I'm using StreamYard. I upload it and let it go from there, and it kicks it out. And people are finding it because I'm getting analytics and numbers and that sort of thing. So I love it. I love the live streaming part of it. But I kind of like what Lee's been doing with the fun stuff too, because I think that's that adds a different. Yeah, it adds a different aspect to everything because again, a lot of these shows that get on here, people are kind of depending on what their niche is, they're pretty uber serious. Hey, let's talk about this today. We're going to go ahead and continue and talk about scaling business and how it's going to affect the economy and all these other things. And I'm like, let's pull out rubber ducks. Let's
See, we like to pull out rubber ducks and explain how the rubber ducks are going to help you implement an effective time management strategy within your organization to streamline operational effectiveness and overall increase bottom line revenue. So we can kind of do both.
There you go. Why not? Why not implement both?
We're multilingual, multi-business lingual.
Again, because I think that's not.
Oh, heck off, Lee. Don't do that every time we start talking business. I love talking business. Get some moguls over here. Business people, stand up. Business in the back, y'all. We got a party. Creatives in the front.
So I get the fact that like, but again, it's like an office, right? You do have fun times in an office when you're working in an office environment. Yes, there's business going on there as well, but you also get the jackassery of throwing a piece of paper over somebody's cubicle and hitting him on the head just to have a laugh. I like that fun aspect about life because again, that's what it's all about. Is having a smile on my face and just having a good time, man.
You know what I forgot all about?
What's that?
Final thoughts. We are at
Are we at
5:17
once already?
Yeah, we really are. I looked down and I was like, oh wait, why do I have this counter on? Ah, yes. So you guys know what time it is for everybody out there in the audience, and for Gabriel down here who has not been a guest before, let's run it down. Final thoughts. You get 30 seconds, a minute and a half, or however long you do please, to talk about what is on your mind that you would like to leave our wonderful audience members for the day. So Gabriel, as our esteemed guest, you get to go first, my friend. We'll put you in the hot seat and throw you up on center stage. Talk it away. The day is yours.
Awesome. So everybody, first of all, thank you again. Thank you, Lee. Thank you guys for having me on the show. Again, guys, it's all about what you want to do every day and what you want to create. We all have a creative aspect to our lives. You can get on social media. You can just scroll through it and look at everything else that everybody else is creating that you're watching. And at some point in your lives, you might want to jump in and start doing that yourself. So if you see somebody doing beauty tips, you see somebody creating a funny meme that makes you laugh, there was somebody somewhere else that said, you know what, I got an idea. I'm going to put all this together. I'm going to do it on my phone and create it and share it to social media, and it goes viral. So you have the same ability. You have the same opportunity. It's just about putting your own creativity and your own stamp on what you want to share with everybody and what you want to share with the world. Because you are a creative person. Everybody has a creative, I call everybody a creative soul, because we do have that need to want to express ourselves, whether it's through sharing a song that we like or writing our own song, whether it's sharing a post or a poem that we like or writing our own. So guys, everybody out there, share your creativity with the world, because again, it's going to be the greatest thing that you could possibly do. And who knows what kind of impact it'll make on somebody else's life. Writing or singing or playing a guitar or doing any of these things, painting, doing a sculpture, all these things that people tag as just being creative people, and I couldn't do something like that. I call BS on that. I think everybody does have a way to share their own creative nature, and it's just about you being brave enough to share it. So yeah, go out there now. Today, everybody start doing something. Share a creative thing that you want to do. I had my daughter draw something today. I said, look, draw whatever you want to draw, whatever's on your mind. Be creative. So I tell them, just put it out there, put it on a piece of paper, put it in the world, get it out of your mind, and people are going to find something that touches them. And at some point, it's going to make an impact, whether it's on your own life or theirs. But share it out there, people, because just holding it inside of your mind is the greatest thing that you can do to waste it. So awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. And wow, why did I take that banner off? Let me add that back up.
Thank you.
Great final thoughts, Gabriel. I mean, for real. Sharing it, that's so big, and goes out to every single one of you listening right now. Share the freaking post, write the copy, and do not live inside your head. You can do it. Actually, I'll just go ahead and dive into a final rant real quick, and then I'll throw it over to Lee here. Speaking of share it, because Gabriel, you have inspired me. First of all, my friends, I just want to say thank you, as always, for joining us for around an hour-ish. Who knows how long it'll be. But Thanks for joining us. Thanks for hanging in. And y'all are my favorite part. So continue to chime in, to comment so that I can stop the show and say hello. And also stay tuned for more important and cool things that we have on the way. So final thought today. Let's talking about sharing it. And this is something that, Matthew was dropping a comment about writing copy. I had a really good conversation. I can't remember her last name, but her name was like Lee something. I'll tag her in the comments because she was the inspiration behind. She told me with posts to just say what I needed to hear for the day. If I'm having trouble with a post, just share something that I could use hearing. So on the topic, share the post, write the post. It's okay to word vomit. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's 100% normal for you to be walking yourself through that process as you're trying to create this post. You are going to be second guessing yourself, but every time you get that feeling in your gut that you want to pull back, instead push forward. You got to conquer that. You got to push through it. You got to move through it. And only once you do that will you get through that line of procrastination or anxiety or perfectionism or whatever you want to call it. But no matter what, you've got to get through that. So push through there, push through the middle, push hard. And remember that you've always got friendly faces at BowtieUP or Mr. Gabriel Leal here who are open and always here to lend a helping hand or ear for support. Lee, it's on
Well
you,
done.
my friend.
The enemy of greatness is not in the stream. The enemy of greatness is not in the villages. The enemy of greatness is not in the comment section. The enemy of greatness is in your mind. It's time for you to bow tie up.
How was that?
That was awesome.
I wanted to do one of those like screen just goes static blank broadcast ends type deal. That was incredible, Lee. I don't think we witnessed another moment like that in history for a while.
Wow.
That enjoys the Yosemite Sam.
Ow! My biscuits are burning! Fire in the hatch!
Yeah.
That was hot. Woo, doggy.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, we broke the internet, so let's get the heck out of here. Gabriel, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your insight. Alex, thank you as always for putting up with me. And those of you watching or who will be watching, good God, subscribe if you haven't already. Help us share this. We're trying to do good things here. And come back tomorrow for another episode of Bow Tie Up Live.
Nice.
We'll see you.
See you later.